Who is Nayuta and what's her role in Chainsaw Man? There will be manga spoilers up to chapter 119. Nayuta first appeared at the end of Chainsaw Man Part 1 in chapter 97. Following the defeat of Makima, Kishibe discovers Nayuta in China and brought her over to Japan, entrusting her to Denji, revealing that if the government got their hands on her, there was a strong possibility she would turn out to be like Makima. The reason for that is because Nayuta is the reincarnation of the Control Devil. In the world of Chainsaw Man, when devils die on Earth, they reincarnate in Hell, and once they die in Hell, they are reincarnated on Earth. It's a never-ending cycle of immortality, and even the four horsemen of the apocalypse are no exception. Since all memories of past reincarnations have been erased, why is Nayuta considered a problem child despite Denji's love and care? Even though Nayuta is a child, she is still one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Whether it's rooted deep within her subconscious or just instincts, perhaps Nayuta can't help but insert her dominance onto others. As the Control Devil, she should carry all the same abilities Makima had, which include domination, believing she should be able to control any being who she believes is inferior to her, super hearing, borrows the hearing of rats, birds, and other animals she controls to hear conversations remotely, more on this later, force manipulation, using an invisible force to deal damage to her opponents, which I'm sure she'll eventually do, but so far Nayuta has been shown to use the chain link ability. When Makima was shown to use the chain ability, it gave her the powers of her victim she had chain connected to her body. As seen in chapter 119, Nayuta's chains have successfully connected to Yoru's head. Will she now be able to manipulate and control Yoru and free Asa indirectly? Yoru occupies only half of Asa's brain, so this could work. Additionally, this would be in line with Asa's character development from being a quiet, unsociable person to becoming more confident and assertive, similar to how Fami took Yoru away back at the aquarium. Bringing it back to Nayuta and her extreme personality, Fujimoto has long hinted at Nayuta's excessiveness. Here's a look at the houseplants Denji and Nayuta take care of in chapter 119. Based on how they are depicted, they are actually aloe plants, but Denji's plant looks healthy while Nayuta's does not. In reality, if an aloe plant looks like this because of Nayuta's neglect, it's because she overwaters it, reinforcing her excessive affection for it and thus for Denji. Isn't it ironic that Nayuta's overprotectiveness of Denji is evident throughout the entire second part? After the reveal of the fake Chainsaw Man taking out Yuko in chapter 111, birds are seen flying and strangely, more birds surround Yuko before her untimely demise, immediately following our first glimpse of Nayuta sleeping with Denji. The way Fujimoto decides to indirectly reveal Nayuta to the readers at this particular moment to the story seems odd, doesn't it? The line, "If only I could read birds' minds too," might have been Yuko's inadvertent reference to the Control Devil's ability to borrow the hearing of crows to Yuko's and Asa's conversation. Additionally, there are numerous examples of birds displayed throughout chapters in part 2 that heavily involve Chainsaw Man. In chapter 106, following the conversation Asa and Yoru share about Yuko's contract with the Justice Devil, we see birds. Immediately after Yuko mentions Chainsaw Man in the bonfire, a panel of birds flying off are depicted, hinting they were listening in. Chapter 109, before Denji arrives to battle the Justice Devil, the first panel is birds once more. In chapter 118, the very first panel shows birds when Yoru attempts to turn Denji into a sword. You can easily dismiss Nayuta calling Yoru a thief as overprotectiveness and envy from watching her brother Denji kiss Yoru. Or perhaps Nayuta's use of the word thief is actually Nayuta calling out Yoru because she is listening to the War Devil's plans of getting revenge on Chainsaw Man. In that case, Nayuta should know Asa is innocent and knows that Denji actually wants to be in a relationship with the girl. Therefore, Nayuta can kill two birds with one stone, ensure that Denji and Asa get together by freeing Asa from Yoru. In spite of the unconventional and extreme methods, Nayuta remains committed to Denji's welfare. The direction Fujimoto is taking Nayuta's character also parallels the one he wrote years ago before Chainsaw Man, titled Yogen no Nayuta or Nayuta of the Prophecy. Upcoming spoilers for Nayuta of the Prophecy. In the one-shot, upon the birth of a horned child, a prophecy detailing the end of the world is revealed. Nayuta is the horned child, and Kenji is her older brother. She is raised by Kenji while being protected from religious fanatics who demand her death to avoid the apocalypse. Due to Nayuta's strange and violent behavior, Kenji finds it difficult to raise her and at one point gets beaten up for trying to protect her. When Nayuta learns of this, she becomes enraged, to the point where swords are summoned in the sky, bringing about the Armageddon she had been destined to cause. Eventually, Kenji gets fed up with her behavior, scolds her, and flees with her before the fanatic can attempt retaliation. The story ends with the siblings on the run, unsure when Nayuta's destiny will come about, but deciding to look out for each other until then. Nayuta of the Prophecy shares many of the same narrative beats we see between Denji and Nayuta in Chainsaw Man Part 2. Also, come on, you telling me these two Nayuta don't look similar in design and share almost identical personality traits? Kenji, similarly loyalty to Denji is raising Nayuta and providing for her. Denji's unconditional love, like Kenji, will most likely result in Nayuta's protection no matter how destructive she becomes in part 2, as Nayuta is a horseman of the apocalypse capable of causing Armageddon. We also need to remember what Pochita told Denji about Makima in chapter 97. Makima's dream was to build equal relationships with other people. However, since she could only form relationships through the power of fear, her methods of actually acquiring a family she's yearned for were unjust. Pochita warns Denji that if he doesn't want Nayuta to turn out like Makima, he should shower her with love and provide plenty of hugs. The role Makima played in part 1 was an extreme example of what Nayuta could become. Hopefully her role in part 2 will be different. However, knowing Fujimoto, he'll still find a way to break our hearts either way. But what about Fami? And what about the Death Horsemen? What role could they play in all of this? To learn more about them, you're going to want to click on this video right here.